Chapter 27, Tears Like Mine. I can feel it too. It's sickening, like you're drinking gallons of spit. Yuki replied, My stomach hurts. The island was quiet, and nothing was heavy but the thick air that lingered and loomed a sad tune around the three girls' heads. Minna tried to desperately warm herself by hugging Raichiro while Yuki looked around the beach. Elaine! Are you here? Raichiro's voice echoed through the wind of the mountains on the island. I don't think she's here, and if she is, she isn't okay. Do you think she's alright, Yuki? Raichiro's golden eyes twinkled the stars, reflecting them. I'm not really feeling her anymore. Not in my heart, Yuki said, worried, with her hand on her chest as she wore a white tunic-like one-shoulder outfit. Well, you kids, you all just missed the party of the year downstairs. I was hoping you'd be coming, Raichiro. His voice was cold and vibrated through the misty air of the deserted island beach. Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord! Where's my daughter? Raichiro's veins popped out of the sides of her face as she went red. Alls he did was snickered and waved his hand in the air. What does that mean, Sesshomaru-sama? Yuki cooed in her airy voice. You haven't killed her, have you? He smeared and raised his hands. I don't know. Maybe I did. They all gasped. You see, Raichiro, thousands of years ago, a group of people of the Shinto religion came to this very island. Okay? They practiced the Shinto way until one day they came upon a small young child. He had long blue hair and black wings. Assuming he was evil, they pulled apart his limbs until he died. For the next few months, the crops of their land withered and fucked out. It started with the island, and then it spread. They realized the mistake they had made killing that one boy. They ended up worshipping him and their deity, and creating the Kamimichi Shinto religion, or unknown god. Resembling that this deity who they guessed controls certain parts of the earth comes and goes in different forms. Raichiro crossed her arms and nodded in his direction. I understand how that works now, but why do you care about what happens to me? What do I have to do with this? I came here for me daughter, but you obviously have more of an agenda. You're a very curious person, Raichiro Katsuek Nekaroni, and it's a pity you won't be able to see your daughter once you find her. But I have nothing to want from you. You're lying! Yuki pointed a finger at him. I can feel it in your soul! Whatever you think I'm doing doesn't matter. He shook his head and smiled. You're here now. He clapped his hands and a dark mist came out of the sky, heading towards the three girls. Raichiro and Yuki braced themselves. A large hole opened up in the floor, and the black mist grabbed all the girls, taking them into the belly. All three of them woke up within a dark, hostile room with a hint of evil. There was a slight light of moonlight shining in through a barred hole in the ceiling. They all looked at each other and sighed. Is it over, Raichiro-chan? Yuki-chan? Minna whimpered and hugged her knees. I shouldn't have let you come along, Yuki said. It's my fault I knew it was too dangerous. I'm sorry, Minna-chan. She put her hand over Minna's and squeezed it. It's okay. I'd rather all die together than for you two to disappear and never heard of again. Minna squeezed back and smiled. Raichiro felt her way to their hands and grabbed them. I get it now. Why my daddy and Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord teamed up against me? My father just wants me dead, and Sesshomaru wanted to stop the birth of the Kamimichi Shinto god. She laid her head on the cold rock wall behind her and faced towards the moon. I'm the key to keeping this world in the light and bringing the god back to this earth so it can mature and set things right. I don't think I'm the right one for the job, though. I've made too many mistakes, and am not even that enlightened. Why in the world did God pick me and Inuyasha to sleep in? We're all still very young, Raichiro. You even still have maturing to do. Tenshikuzu wouldn't have picked you if she didn't think that eventually you'd become the perfect mother for her and the whole world. Stop asking why and start doing. Even if you turn out to be unsuited for bringing and raising Elaine into this world, you are still are part of this story. You can be the person who turns things around and makes them right, even if you're not the last person who do it. What you do now will aid the next Mother of God to keeping this world in the light and not letting it all shatter. Raichu nodded and stood up. You're right, Yuki. She gently felt the metal bands around the joints of her fake arms. Even if I'm destroyed, in the end I still need to do my part and not give up. No! She felt around the rocky wall until she hit a spot that seemed shallow. Okay, you two, you better stay away because I'm about to bust a hole in this. She kept on hand on the wall, and with her other hand she made a fist. She tried to punch a hole through the well. Yuki, I'll need you to help me. Yuki stood behind her and began to bat her wings, concentrating all the energy from her wings onto one spot on the wall that Raichu punched. She bolted through the wall, causing rocks from on top of them to fall on them. Yuki wrapped her wing around Minna and herself to protect them, while Raichu used her metal arms as an umbrella. Yuki and Minna stood in a big bright light that shone on their faces coming from a hallway through the hole. Oh, Raichu, Minna cried. The skin on your arms is being torn off. Raichu instinctively faced towards her arms, but she still couldn't see anything. It doesn't matter to me. I can always get that redone, but later they marched out of there. Holy my hand, Raichu, Yuki said. You're going to fall into things if you don't. Thanks, Yuki, but I think I can be okay. Raichu held her arms out and moved through the holloway. She walked for a while before she noticed that Yuki and Minna were being too quiet. Minna-chan, Yuki-chan, where are we now? Minna's voice came from the far end of the room they were in, quite and timid like a shy. Raichu, can you feel them staring at you? Them? Raichu's heart began to race, and a little. Who's them, and are they dangerous? She got ready to fight. Yuki's voice came from within Raichu's head. One-chan, I need to show you something. Let me into your mind so you can see what I'm seeing. And that's what Raichu did. Through Yuki's eyes, she could see that there were rows and rows of incubator tubes filled with glowing green liquid. Inside those tubes were clones of Raichu. Most of them had their eyes closed, but some had their eyes open, or slightly opened. Every once in a while, one wouldn't have developed a head. They were facing towards Raichu. Oh my god! Yuki! What are all these things doing here? Why would Sesshomaru do this? Raichu buried her head in her hands and shook her head. The clones shook their head back and forth in unison. Well, damn! It seems that you found your little friends. A slender man in a black outfit and white gloves with an apron came out from between some of the tubes. You may call me Sebastian. I am a demon, but I'm also your surgeon. My surgeon? Raichu yelped. Yes, ever since Sesshomaru, the vampire lord, found out that you birthed the god of the Kamimichi Shinto religion. He's been trying to figure out your molecular structure and physically recreate you so he can birth an anti-god. He laughed. Oh, Miss Raichu, don't you think you can't sit down for a while? Have some tea? No, Raichu grumbled. I need to find my daughter. She drew out a long sword. Oh dear, I nearly forgot. Sebastian took out a long banana from his pocket and fiercely threw it at Yuki's head, successfully knocking her out. Then it bounced to Minna's head and knocked her out too. Oh, sorry, I didn't have anything else handy in my pocket. He giggled. Now that Yuki's knocked out, you're back to being blind, aren't you now? Yuki-chan, Minna-chan. Raichu sighed and backed into a wall. Her voice became bold and angry, like the bull. I'll rip myself to shreds before you two do. There is no other reason that I was given Elaine besides the fact that she chose me. Making a clone of me will not solve your questions. What? Sebastian raised his eyebrow in questions. You were chosen? Oh, but there must be something inside your body that allows you to have the ability to hold such a foreign entity. Raichu shook her sad head back and forth. I am nothing more than a cat demon vampire. He licked his Lucius lips and rubbed his surgeon tools together in excitement. Well, you don't know everything. We'll find out. Raichu put her hand to her head and knelt to the floor. What's wrong? Sebastian asked. Oh, did you forget that your daddy is here somewhere? Watching? She began to shiver and cradle her head. You don't need to tell me that I can feel it. I hear him laughing in my head. It sickens me so. She could feel the world start to roll and pulsate. Her body twisting and turning, and the rage building up in her heart. She let out a demonic meow. Her eyes glowed red, and a whippy brown tail grew out of her butt. Black wings came out of her back, and she snarled like the devil. Sebastian looked shook, and in one fell swoop, she slammed her fist into the wall, causing rocks to fall down and break the incubator tubes the clones were in. All of the clones fell to the ground and began to crawl out, meowing. Those incubator tubes are constantly being filled and replaced with water, you know. This whole damn room is flooding, Sebastian yelled. He ran out of the door and tried to lock Raichu inside. Many of the clones dissolved into the hollow floor and became dust, not frightening Raichu. Others just fell to the floor, stood up, and stood there. But one clone came towards Raichu. She smiled. The clone spoke in a dark, almost robotic voice. I know where our daughter is.